My name is Kelly Fortson, and I am in the Education Specialist Degree Program in Instructional Technology at Kennesaw State University. I taught third grade math, science, and social studies at Marlowe Elementary in Effingham County for the past 7 years. I have started a new position at Marlowe this year as the Gifted and Talented Resource Teacher. Because I have a passion for integrating technology into all facets of teaching and a desire to be a more effective teacher, I chose KSU's Instructional Technology program in order to help meet these goals. The title of my capstone project is Blogging to Increase Student Engagement. The idea for this project arose from the need to increase student engagement. Because our students are so exposed to technology, I felt it was very important to bring these elements into my classroom. Technology increases student engagement, and the use of a classroom blog would bring authentic and meaningful learning to my classroom while also teaching my students 21st century skills that are needed to be successful in school and in the real world. Research has shown that blogs engage students while fostering and reinforcing critical thinking skills. Also, student engagement tends to increase when blogging is integrated into the classroom. The goal for this project was for students to take responsibility for their own learning while being engaged in a higher level of technology usage that ultimately would lead to collaboration with their peers. The process of creating and implementing the class blog began in January 2016. The goal was to create the blog during the first few months of the second semester and then fully implement the blog the last quarter of the year. After learning that my county preferred I use school wires to create the blog, I signed up for an official training with one of the county's technology specialists. After the training, I began creating the blog and continued to research various elements in which to incorporate. I also spent time creating the how-to PowerPoint, the blogging rules poster, and the parent letter. The PowerPoint was designed to introduce the concept of blogs as well as give directions on how to use the various technologies that would be included, such as discussion boards, voice threads, and video chats. The poster was created as a visual to be a constant reminder for students of proper blogging etiquette. It hung in my classroom next to the computers that the students would use daily to blog. I created the parents' letter as an effort to keep parents informed on the implementation of this new classroom technology. I also wanted to make sure I had permission for each third grader to participate in the class blog. By March 2016, the third grade students were ready to begin blogging. Students contributed to a variety of discussion boards, used proper blogging etiquette to respond to peers, created a few voice threads, and even collaborated with another third grade class at a different in-county school. Students were able to share and critique a variety of educational websites with one another, as well as create a class book list. Students also collaborated with third graders from Guyton Elementary to create a digital story. Overall, the project was a huge success. Students participated in a survey after completing the 10-week implementation. The survey reflected strengths and weaknesses of the project. For most students, this was their first experience with blogging. Majority of students enjoyed creating voice threads in the digital storybook with students from a different school. Responding to peers was the element that was least liked by students. When asked, what is the greatest benefit of blogging, students had a variety of answers. Some responded by saying that it was fun and they liked seeing their stuff on the internet. Others stated that they benefited by working with others and creating a project through the use of the internet. And a few stated that the class book list was helpful when searching for new AR books. Although the project did not go quite as planned, I feel that the survey results proved that blogging was beneficial to all of my students. The implementation and facilitation of this capstone project has brought about great new insights. I have learned that in order to be successful with new technology implementation, I must thoroughly plan out the process. Much time was spent researching a variety of blogs in order to find the specific elements that would work best in my classroom. I also spent a sufficient amount of time learning and setting up the blog. New technology implementation also requires quite a bit of patience and flexibility. Things rarely ran smooth the first go around. I learned that I needed to allot time to figure out the technology and be willing to change and or edit the plans as needed. For instance, I spent quite a bit of time creating a blog using Weebly. After much research, I had set up a variety of pages in which to organize my blog. I then learned that my county would prefer I use school wires to implement this project. School wires is very limiting as to organization. I was unable to set up separate pages for each element, and thus my blog was not organized as I had planned or intended. However, once I embraced the program, I was able to successfully create the blog and begin implementation. The greatest thing in which I learned from this experience is that students need to be adequately trained on the new technology before being allowed to use it. I spent several days teaching my students blogging etiquette and how to use the different elements that were included within the blog. This paid off because when students were free to use the blog, they did so with ease and minimal questions and confusion. Overall, I learned that in order to be effective and successful in technology facilitation and leadership, one must be willing to put forth the time required to thoroughly plan out the implementation process, be flexible and willing to change the plans as needed, and take the time to teach students how to properly use the technology. I realized quickly that the success of the implementation of this capstone hinged greatly on my disposition. In order to effectively implement the class blog, I had to have an innovative and flexible attitude. I also needed to be open to embracing new technologies, especially ones that I might not be very comfortable with. I had to be willing to seek out new technologies and be creative in the ways in which to apply them to my third grade classroom. Flexibility was also a big factor in attitude. There were several times that things did not go as planned and I had to adjust my implementation process. This type of attitude helped me to master Standard 6.1, continuous learning. My flexibility helped me to demonstrate continual growth in knowledge and skills of current and emerging technologies and apply them to improve personal productivity and professional practice. This experience has helped me to become more comfortable with infusing various technology-based strategies into my classroom and has given me more confidence in becoming a technology leader and coach in my school. One recommendation for starting a class blog would be to be very selective in the program in which you wish to build your blog. I would recommend avoiding school wires at all costs. I found it to be very limiting and hindering to creativity and organization. I would highly suggest using the platforms such as Weebly. I would also recommend to do your research. There are so many elements that you can add to the blog to make it engaging and student-centered. It is worth visiting other educational blogs in order to find what will work best for your classroom. Lastly, I would encourage all teachers to use a class blog. The learning experiences that come along with blogging are endless. I would like to thank so many people who have supported and encouraged me throughout this program. I would like to thank all of my professors who have stretched and challenged me and have enlightened me with so much knowledge surrounding instructional technology. I have learned more in the last 5 semesters than I thought was possible. I am forever grateful. Thanks to all of my peers. I have enjoyed getting to know you and am thankful for your help while navigating through these courses. I wish you all the best on your next endeavors. Lastly, I would like to thank my family. My husband and children have been so supportive, understanding, and flexible throughout the duration of the program. So much love for you.